love for Krishna. So there is knowledge which is confidential, that we are not his body, and there is more confidential knowledge, which means that there is God who is giving us knowledge, remembrance and forgetfulness, and who is keeping the planets or their orbits. And when we are eating food, the food is digested, assimilated, toxins are eliminated, hopefully. And all this is happening without any of our conscious effort. So there is God, the super soul in the universe, who is keeping the planets on their orbits. And then there is the most confidential knowledge, which is that Krishna has his own place where we all can go and join his ever liberated associates in the activities of bliss and full knowledge, which are going on eternally. That is the spiritual world. So the Bhagavad-Gita deals more of this entanglement of the spirit soul and how to get out of that, and it gives some hints also about the spiritual world. But those topics are more dealt in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is like the next level from the Bhagavad-Gita. But for us, it's better to focus on those things which are more in our present field of experience, like, for example, what we call as sadhana bhakti. So we hear the theory that we are not this body, but then to actually experience that we are not this body, then there is a process which to be applied in order to realize that we are not this body, and that there is God, and that actually this world is not the real world. This is the world of Maya, and that our real world is in the spiritual world, where everything is based on love and emotion. And that process is called Bhakti Yoga, which starts from sadhana bhakti. Means that, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad-Gita, Mai evam mana adatsva, Mai buddhi nivesaya, nivaishyasi mai eva, atha urdhvam nasamsayam. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will always live in me without a doubt. And in the next verse, Krishna says, Atha chittam samadhatum, Atha chittam samadhatum, na shaknosi mai sthiram, abhyasa yogena tato mam ichhaptum dhananjaya. But if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, you will develop a desire to attain me. So this sadhana bhakti means following the rules and regulations of Bhakti Yoga, means, as Srila Prabhupada has established, a certain schedule and program for those who take some spiritual disciplines, like waking up early in the morning, taking a bath, chanting Hare Krishna on japa a certain amount of rounds, eating Krishna prasadam, foodstuff which is offered to the Supreme Lord, and following so many rules and regulations. And the purpose of that sadhana, that spiritual discipline which we accept, is to develop a desire, or to change our desire. Now sometimes we want to change the world and save the whales and save the penguins, but we should try to save ourselves, and we should actually understand that we are not the controllers. The only thing we can control is our desire. And therefore, applying to this sadhana bhakti, this process of regulated devotional service, we are trying to change our desire from our attempt becoming the supreme in the material world to become a humble, loving servant of the Supreme Lord, or as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us, servant of Krishna. And that is the perfection of life, and then our experience of reality begins, and that is all joy. So that all depends upon how much the reality is revealed to us. And our main process is, actually, there is a book called The Nectar of Devotion, and in that book there is 64 items of devotional service. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has started this Hare Krishna movement, you could say. Of course, it is eternal, but as we know it now, it is inaugurated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared some 500 years ago in West Bengal, along with his several associates, the Panchatattva. So he has picked 5 items. Anyone knows what are these 5 powerful processes of devotional service? Or even one of them?
Chant Hare Nam?
Yes, chanting Hare Krishna. Now we have 1. Anyone knows more?
No eating meat and animals.
No, that's not devotional service. That is coming to the platform of being human beings, actually. But without following this 4 regulative principles, thank you for mentioning this, because this we should understand as well. It's equally as important as engaging in this 5 powerful processes of devotional service. Means that there is 4 gross sinful activities. No, we could put it in a positive way also. So we try to become truthful, merciful, austere, and clean. So we try to develop these qualities by restraining ourselves from certain activities, such as having illicit sexual intercourse, eating meat or other dead animals, engaging in intoxication or indulging in intoxication, and gambling. So we accept the process of chanting Hare Krishna, eating prasadam, and simultaneously we should try to give up these things. And when we accept these spiritual disciplines, we begin to start giving up these things. Because when we do these things, our mind becomes polluted and our consciousness becomes unclear, and then it's very difficult to practice spiritual life. And also, if we don't chant Hare Krishna, it's practically impossible to give up these things. Because for anyone we meet outside, this is life, actually. Like one time, I think it was Srila Prabhupada's god brother, and some British aristocrat was visiting him in Calcutta, I suppose, and he asked, "Can you make me a Brahmana?" Brahmana is the topmost of human society, the intelligent class of people, those who actually know. And this devotee said, "Yes, you can. You just follow these things. You say no illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, and no gambling." And he's impossible. So for most people this is life, and for us practitioners also it is a challenge. It is practically impossible without being able to get a higher taste by Krishna consciousness. So thank you for that. Now, what are these other 4 powerful processes of devotional service? We have chanting Hare Krishna mentioned.
Reading scriptures.
Yes, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gita, which we are doing now. So chanting Hare Krishna, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gita. And anyone knows other powerful processes of devotional service? Well, not exactly, but that is part of one of those, I would say.
Offer to Krishna?
To who?
To Krishna.
In how? In which way? Which form?
On altar.
Yeah, and in the altar there is,
Deities?
yes,
Serving deities.
yes, worshipping the deities with care and attention. So now we have three. Chanting Hare Krishna, hearing Bhagavad-Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, worshipping the deities, and
Visiting secret places.
residing in the holy place, or making the atmosphere spiritual by preaching, for example. Because in this particular verse it says Mathura Vas, that one should live in Mathura. But does it mean that every one of us have to book an apartment from Mathura and then we are following this order? No, probably all the apartments will be full and filled if all the devotees from the West and everywhere go there to live. But by consciousness we should live in Vrindavan. That means that we follow the footsteps of those who are living in Vrindavan. And we have examples of those, like such as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we can also create a spiritual atmosphere by preaching, for example. Sometimes we do Harinam in the street, or we distribute books. Then we can see that we create a certain bubble of spiritual consciousness or spiritual, or even that there is the whole spiritual world. So now we have chanting Hare Krishna, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, worshipping the deities, residing in the holy place, and one more.
Engaging in the
What is that?
Engaging ourselves in the activity and with the devotees.
Yes, associating with devotees, or serving the devotees. Yes. So these are the 5 powerful processes of devotional service, and within this ISKCON movement, Srila Prabhupada, who has established the movement, has also established a morning program which consists of all these 5 powerful processes. Now it is nice that we come to the temple like once a week on Sunday or Saturday, but it is even more important that we have a regular program at our home, where we engage in these 5 powerful processes of devotional service. Srila Prabhupada said that the householders, those who live outside, they should every morning come together and chant Hare Krishna together. So there is chanting of the holy name, and then cook something for Krishna to offer, at least. And when my wife is chanting Hare Krishna, I listening to her chant Hare Krishna. So this is serving the devotees. We are hearing and listening to the devotees, and that is service to them. So this is the way how to fix the mind upon Krishna. Now most of us might not be able to think about Krishna every moment spontaneously, as in this first verse which I recited. Just fix your mind upon me. But we are advised, therefore, to follow these rules and regulations of Bhakti Yoga. And Srila Prabhupada said that whoever executes these processes with faith, under the guidance of a spiritual authority, he can experience ecstasy. Even a neophyte devotee, like ourselves, who are in the beginner stage. So that's very inspiring, and as this verse mentioned also, that we can be patient because we are eternal. So we don't have to worry, that's good news. We are going to continue. But although we are eternal, still it's advised to be determined on the path. So there is also 3, you could say, driving forces on the path of devotional service. That's mentioned by Rupa Goswami. Utsaha Nischaya Dharya. So first we must practice patiently. Now our problem is that we want everything now. But we require some patience that we can peacefully practice. And that patience builds into confidence or conviction that we actually know what we are doing. And not only we theoretically understand that we are not this body, but we are actually convinced and we are even willing to die for it, such as Arjuna on the battlefield. And then that builds into enthusiasm. Then our natural loving enthusiasm to serve the Lord will manifest. And that is also the real happiness for the self, Ananda. So this is Satchit Ananda. That is our real identity. We are eternal spiritual beings, full of knowledge and blissful servants of the Supreme Lovable Person, Sri Krishna. Okay, I'll end here. Any questions or comments? Yes?
In the verse, like you were talking about the soul being same from childhood to youth to old age,
Right.
and then to the next body. But when we are turning from a child to youth to old, our thinking and our way of doing things, or maybe we do some things in child but not in the adulthood and vice versa. Is that only because of the body, or the soul also gets some transformation during this journey?
Yes, very good question. So there is a gross body, earth, water, bhumirapo nalo vayo, kam, and it continues. It also means earth, water, fire, air, ether, and that's what this gross body consists of. And we can explain the whole, what is earth? Earth is something which is solid. Water is something which is binding, like you make a dough for chapatis, the water binds the dough together. And fire is a transformation. So the fire burns the firewood to ashes and makes the water into steam. So it's transformation and digestive fire. And then there is air, which moves things. We cannot see the air, but we can see how it moves the leaves, and also it moves the planets and also things in our body from one place to the next. And ether is the space where everything sits in. All the other elements sits in ether. It is the most fine of these gross elements, but these are still gross elements. And beyond the gross elements, there is the subtle elements. So as we have a gross body, we have also a subtle body. That subtle body is mind, intelligence, and false ego. So mind is thinking, feeling, willing. Intelligence is discrimination, like there is man, there is woman, different colors. We can discriminate by intelligence. And then there is our identification. I'm a monk, I'm Finnish, I'm a Hindu, I'm a Muslim, I'm so many things. I'm a man, I'm a woman. So these are our identifications. So all these things change throughout our lives. Our bodies has changed, certainly, our gross bodies. And then our mind also. I might have liked some kind of hip-hop music before, and then later I would have liked like rock music. So our mind has changed already many times. And our perception of life, how do we perceive things? Intelligence is also as how we perceive things. A vision. Like we have a leader, for example, in a society. So the leader is supposed to have a vision. It should be an intelligent person. So that vision, our perception has also changed. We had seen differently in different parts of our lives. And also our identifications, who I identified myself as, has changed also. So these things are changing, but we who are actually beyond the gross and the subtle body, we have always remained the same. Yes. Anything else?
Go a little on. I have the same idea, the same question, just a little bit more, deep. How it's called. If we have these bodies, different kind of bodies, emotional and mental and physical form, where we let this physical form, the other bodies we take with us, or it is like if we let the physical form and we have these other bodies, mental and emotional, we take with us.
Yeah, it is said that the subtle body carries the soul to the next body. So therefore, as in this verse it said, fix your mind upon me. So when our mind is fixed upon Krishna, then we'll go to Krishna. So after leaving this body, when the body is destroyed, the mind will fly us, carry us to the next destination. So therefore the mind should be pure mind. That's why the whole yoga system is to control the mind, so that one can voluntarily fix it on a certain object where he wants to go or when he wants to go. So therefore we have so many impressions from our past lives. Like some people have traumas, or they have certain kind of, mental things, and there's not only, these impressions are not only from this life but also from the past lives. So this subtle body is much more difficult thing to deal with. Like there is a science for health, Ayurveda, for example. And the more one becomes realized about his real identity in relation to Krishna, the more he actually can realize this the real root disease, and therefore the health, how such a person takes care of health, it becomes very wonderful. So it's more important actually. For example, if one has some eating problem or some physical ailments, the expert doctor should be sensitive enough to understand the subtle reasons for his becoming ill. So generally, for example, people overeat the sweet taste, and that can be, as one great Vaishnava has written a book, he said, sweet doesn't mean only chocolate and ice cream and gulab jamuns and halwa, but actually everything which consists of earth and water element is considered sweet. So all the vegetables, especially chapatis and milk, and this all sweet actually. So most people overeat the sweet taste, and that can be due to lack of sweetness in relationships. So this is the emotional level. But that can be solved by coming in contact with the most sweetest person, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So this is the real cure of our actual disease. So therefore this is a beautiful knowledge, this Vedic knowledge, because it includes everything. But Srila Prabhupada has simplified it so nicely that we don't have to read all these books, and actually it's not even necessarily. If we become, if we reawaken our dormant, interest in Krishna, or if we turn again to Krishna, then all these things will be revealed. You don't necessarily have to read all these books even. I think he was first.
Okay, I was just going to ask, if you chant half your life or for a long time, and at the moment of death you have become a little dementia, forgetful. So does Krishna, oversee that and take you home?
How long life? You mean like a yogi life, 300 years or more?
This life is like now it's 70, maybe half this life, 70, like 40 years, And then,
I mean, Srila Prabhupada said that one can sit in the temple for millions of lifetimes, or it can happen in a second, because this is a spiritual thing. Like, for example, association. We might sit with someone who is our initiative spiritual master for a long period of time, but nothing might happen because we are still under the bodily conception of life. Similarly, someone might not have ever physically met his spiritual master, but he was always receiving knowledge, he was always receiving instructions, he was always having the opportunity to associate with him. So this is spiritual. So therefore, this is that I have been belonging to this movement for 20 years, or I have been in this body for a certain amount of time. I should be experienced already enough. But if we never had a spiritual experience, then we might not have developed that faith and conviction to actually take shelter fully of Krishna. So therefore, to learn to chant this Hare Krishna mantra properly is very important. Of course, we have a prescribed amount, how much we should chant regularly, and actually Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that constantly, Kirtaniya Sadhari, all the time one should chant Hare Krishna. But important is that we learn to avoid these 10 kinds of offenses in chanting Hare Krishna, so that we learn to chant without offense and eventually with love, because that is Bhakti Yoga. So one can offer one flower with love, or one can do so many big things and chant so much, but there might not be this connection, there might not be this relationship.
In spite of all this,
Mhm.
and you're still at the moment of death.
If you become dementia, and well, as I said, Krishna appears in one's consciousness out of his own sweet will. Only if he desires to appear, he appears.
Yeah.
So we just try to attract Krishna, or as Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he said that don't try to see Krishna, try to act so that Krishna would see you. And this material memory, we can lose it. We can lose the material body. But Krishna can appear, or we can get remembrance, because it is spiritual. Our brain can be completely damaged. Of course, when we are in a healthy body, it's much more easier to practice. But at that stage, it's not anymore about, it's not a mechanical thing, it's not a practice. For one who is a devotee, it is a spontaneous thing, it is a relationship. And that's what Bhakti Yoga means. It's all about having that relationship. There was Prabhu.
So if we go back to original verse, mean
Yeah.
that Arjuna could have brought this argument to Krishna. Krishna said, what's the use? Why should I engage in this war? Everything is finished anyway, so what does it matter? Let them have it. It's exactly what Arjuna said, actually.
Yeah.
Let them have it. So, what about this argument? Why should he, according to this verse, why should he engage in a war? It's useless.
Because it's material?
Yeah.
But it's not any more material if Krishna tells you to do it. And therefore, Krishna wanted this thing to happen, as well as Krishna wants every one of us to do something in this material world. Because Krishna, he's the source of all knowledge, so he's the most intelligent person. He never advised anything impractical. Arjuna was thinking, let me not fight, although I'm a warrior, I'm a great warrior, I know how to fight. But let me not fight, let me just go to the Himalayas and become a non-violent, peaceful man and do my meditation, and then this way I will do the right thing, I will achieve perfection. But at this situation, which Krishna, as the Supreme Master, had arranged, Arjuna had his role to play, and Krishna wanted for Arjuna to become glorious and act for Krishna's mission. So there is this one verse that Krishna said, yeah, everything is already done, all these people are finished, but you are the one who should take the glory of all this and become an instrument. So Krishna, he is so close with Arjuna and his devotee that although Krishna spoke the Bhagavad-Gita, he wanted all the glory be given to his devotee. So in order to show us also how to act in the material world, how to perfect your life completely, like Arjuna was, as it said by some Christian, he was acting in this world, but he was not of this world. So by consciousness he was already there, but he was acting in this world. Because that is called duty. In every one in this world they have a particular duty to be performed. Although for someone who is self-realized, there is not really a duty. But even if one is self-realized, his work might be something else, like that of shooting arrows at people. So this is simply to glorify Krishna and glorify his devotee, and to be engaged in this pastime of killing those who are doing wrong. Because there is always a class of people in this world, which was the first, which I was thinking about. It was speaking about, there is a certain class of people who are by nature averse against, they want to fight against Krishna, they want to fight against these books, they want to fight against the principle of religion. So therefore Arjuna, who is a man of religion, it is just his natural position to defend the principles of religion, not simply for the sake of religion, but for the sake of Krishna's, because Krishna is his best friend, his beloved master, to satisfy him. So this is my understanding about why. Thank you for the question. There was something more?
Yeah, this came to me about the duty, and it can be the other question about if we do our duty, what are the consequences if we continue with the question. I wanted to mention a little about the question Mohine. For me, I hear this question many times, and I hear it the answer too. And I think, like Krishna, see the heart, and this is most important. Maybe we can be in difficulty the moment in the end of our lives, and Krishna see the effort already we did, and who we are, what kind of conscience we have, and the relationship we create. It is not just the physical form, lose the...
No. No, but certainly it is a test. And therefore, during our lifetimes, we have also many tests, smaller tests. And when we try to pass those tests, and because Krishna is trying to see also through his external energy that no one who is a nonsense person goes back to Krishna. So there is always some kind of test to see how much we have understood, how much we are convinced about our own eternity. And then if we pass the test, then we go kind of to the next stage. And then the final test is at the point of death. So that is certainly a test. So therefore, we try to train up our mind, we try to train up our intelligence to remember Krishna in spite of whatever circumstances. That is called a yogi. It doesn't disturb him, whatever material circumstances it is. And certainly at the moment of death, the circumstances are not very favorable for having a peace of mind. So therefore we need to train ourselves.
And the Krishna for real, it's not tasting us. It is like showing us. The Krishna know everything. What we doing, how we acting, or what we think, or how we feel. It is like we need to see how we are doing in this life, to be conscious about. And this it is like all the things coming to us, it is to showing us and to preparing us, to come back to the Krishna creates relation with Krishna. Thank you.
The Guru is testing.
Yeah.
Guru is testing.
Yeah.
Because he's very much concerned for our welfare, so he's testing.
Yeah.
It's like just like a teacher. We have exams.
Yeah.
So that's called. An original Guru is Krishna. And whatever our Shiksha, Diksha Guru, or they should always say the same thing as Krishna. And it's an authorized personality to take shelter of. Okay, thank you very much. Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai, Gaura Pramanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Namam Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prestha Bhutale, Srimate Prahladananda, Swami Nityananda. Namam Vishnupadaya, Krishna Prestha Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityananda. Namaste Saraswati Devi.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu, for a wonderful lecture.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.